A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News here on MTV Sports. I'm Ramesh Shirgal-Bandana.
And I'm Krishi Panditharatna. Iranian presidential candidates wrap up their final full day of campaigning in the capital city of Tehran before the final election. Details coming up on the News First International Desk. But before that, let's take a look at the headlines.
Inclement weather prevalent in the island forces schools in the Hatton and Noailly educational zones to be closed tomorrow. Several parts of the island battered by strong winds yesterday as well. The bill on the removal of powers pertaining to the merging of provinces as per the 13th Amendment to the Constitution to be presented to Parliament on Tuesday. And Central Bank of Sri Lanka relaxes foreign exchange regulations.
The Met Department says that strong winds could prevail in many parts of the island. A release issued by the department notes that intermittent showers will be experienced in the western Sabaragamuwa, central and southern provinces, as well as the Puttalam and Kurunegala districts.
The Met Department forecasts that certain areas of the island could expect 100 millimeters of rain. Strong winds moving from a southwesterly direction could be expected on the western slopes of the central hills. The Met Department warns that deep and shallow seas off the coast extending from Mannar to Pothuwil via Colombo and Galle will be rough and dangerous. The department forecasts that wind speeds will hit up to 60 kilometers per hour and has warned naval and fishing communities to refrain from setting out to sea. Chief Minister of the Central Province, Sarath Ekanayake, says that tomorrow will be declared a holiday for schools in the Noailly and Hatton educational zones. Now, the Chief Minister pointed out that several schools in the province have been affected by the inclement weather. How were the weather conditions in Noailly as of this evening? We contacted our correspondent in Noailly to find out.
A tree uprooted by strong winds collapsed onto a building on the Gamini College in Noailly last night. A correspondent said that the flow of traffic along the Shantipura road in Noailly was hampered due to the fallen tree. The power supply to certain areas in Noailly was also disrupted. Earth slips that occurred near the Hatton Norton Road hampered vehicular traffic, while a house in the Norwood area was damaged when a tree collapsed on it. Six buildings of the Zahira College in Gampula were damaged by gale force winds. According to a correspondent, the brunt of the damage was caused to the computer lab of the school. Therefore, educational activities at Zahira College concluded at 10:30 a.m. today. Furthermore, a tree collapsed onto a building of the Lagamur Junior School in Udunura, Kandy last night. A number of houses in the Uduguda area in Attanagala were also damaged due to the inclement weather. With the heavy showers experienced in the central hills, the emergency spill gate of the Castle Reservoir were opened today. Two spill gates of the Kotmale Reservoir have also been opened.
I was stranded at sea for over 14 hours. I tried to get back to land before dark. I was not sure of my life because there was nobody with me.
Those were the views expressed by a fisherman who withstood the fury of nature and survived the raging seas. Although he was able to survive, his two companions were not so fortunate. This fisherman, who we met in the Balapitiya area, recounted his story of survival.
දෙක පහුවෙලා මම හිතන්නේ පෙරලෙනකොට අනිත් පැත්තම ගැහුවා අපි තුන් දෙනාම එක්කෙනෙක්
It was past 2 when the boat capsized. There were 3 of us on the boat and we were thrown off board. Uncle Jaya stayed with me until around 12 and we were holding on. I told him that I see land and that we should swim towards it, but he told me that he couldn't breathe and that he had swallowed too much water. He told me not to think of him and to save myself. He told me to go home and tell them what happened. I managed to make it here with all my courage. We also met with the son of a fisherman who was on board the same vessel but did not survive. We need a proper procedure to prevent such tragedies from recurring. If the officials in the country acted proactively, then many lives could have been saved. Fishermen who set out to sea from Kalutara, Gaul and Nigambo on the 8th of this month faced the wrath of Mother Nature. A few of them were fortunate to survive the gale force winds. However, the number of fishermen that are missing is still uncertain. According to the Disaster Management Center, the number of fishermen who died due to the inclement weather stands at 51. However, Deputy Minister of Fisheries Sarath Kumar Gunaratna believes that the death toll may be close to 60. Meanwhile, the body of a fisherman washed ashore on the Boosa beach today. Our correspondent in the Sinigama area told us that an object that appears to be a corpse was spotted in the seas of the Sinigama Devalaya. However, the remains cannot be brought to land due to rough seas. A fisherman was hospitalized when a boat capsized in the seas off the coast of Lunava in Moratuwa today owing to strong winds. Our correspondent noted that 3 fishermen had set out to sea despite the weather warning in place. Incidentally, fishermen from many areas including Dehiwala, Lunava and Angulana refrained from setting out to sea. The weather caused damage to property. The boats are broken and people are afraid. No one has given us life jackets or informed us that it would keep us safe at sea. Fishermen in the Nigambo area too refrained from setting out to sea today.
During the cabinet media briefing held today, it was revealed that the government has decided to grant 100,000 rupees to the next of kin of all fishermen who died or have been reported missing due to the inclement weather. Cabinet approval has also been granted to provide new vessels to individuals whose boats were uninsured and were destroyed. Funds will also be allocated for fishermen to repair their damaged vessels. The cabinet spokesperson added that 50% of the estimated value will be granted as compensation for boats that were partially damaged.
Now, speaking at a media briefing organized by the JVP today, Parliamentarian Anura Kumar Dissanayake charged that the government has failed to equip the Department of Meteorology with the modern technology.
What
is the Met Department saying? We have failed to bring down the latest technology. We do not have the necessary staff. However, car races can be held in Colombo to fulfill the fantasies of their children. They can spend 315 billion to buy aircrafts for Air Lanka, but they do not want to spend 10 or 20 million to improve this institution. Officials at the Met Department are saying various things. If this institution is shut down, then on one hand it would do some good. Fishermen will be able to judge the weather based on the sun and moon and natural indicators like the fishermen of old. This is not an institution that can state that a mistake happens once out of 100 predictions. If they cannot maintain a minimum standard, then these institutions should be shut down. A large number of people had to sacrifice their lives to open the eyes of the government.
Minister of Disaster Management Mahinda Amravira says that an extensive investigation will be launched into incidents of harm caused to fishermen by strong winds and action will be taken against the wrongdoers. The minister made this statement during an exclusive interview with News First Dharmeshri Ekanayake on Primetime News at 10 last night.
Allegations are being levelled between officials. 2 ministries are clashing. What is your reaction to these allegations?
There are many people to level allegations when such an incident occurs. Political parties, organizations and unions are present to level allegations. However, what is important is to understand the ground situation. Just because we level allegations, the people who died cannot be brought back to life. The government will be the ones helping the people in the end. The other groups might try to incite trouble. However, ultimately, the government will help these people as well. I am not saying that there wasn't a mistake committed by the department. But we should not forget that if the people lose faith in the Met Department, many more accidents will occur. So, we should have a look at their side of the story as well.
නමුත් අපි එකක් අමතක කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. කාලුණ විද්‍යා දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව මත තිබෙන විශ්වාසය ජනතාවගෙන් ඈත් වුණොත් මීට වඩා බොහෝ අනතුරු වෙන්න තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි ඒ අයගේ පැත්තෙනුත් යමක් මොකද්ද සිදු වුනේ කියන එක බැලීම යුතුයකමක් වෙනවා කියලා මම තව එකක් වැදගත්ම දේ තමයි දැන් හුඟක් ආයතන දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව.
Many ministries, departments and even ministers have leveled allegations at the Met Department. If there are any wrongdoers within the department, I will take action against them. There is a separate investigation into this incident.
කාලුණ විද්‍යා දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ වැරදි කරන අය ඉන්නවනම් ඒ අයට එරෙහිව අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මම කටයුතු කරනවා. මේ ප්‍රශ්නය පිළිබඳව වෙනම පරීක්ෂණයක් මම දැන්ටමත් තියෙනවා.
රටේ වරායවල් හදනවා. රටේ මේ ගුවන් තොටුපළවල් හදනවා.
Ports, highways and airports are being built. Do you have sufficient funds to carry out your activities?
නැත්නම් ඔබතුමාට මදිකමක් තියෙනවද? මොකද්ද ඔබතුමාද?
මම කාලුණ විද්‍යා දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව නවීකරණය කිරීම.
We have taken certain steps to renovate the Met Department. However, it is not sufficient. After the last renovation, I compiled a report. Even the Met Department admits that the equipment have nothing to do with the latest failure. However, we need to move forward in order to predict such incidents. We have made project plans, submitted it to the Cabinet of Ministers and the President, approved it, and we have sent it to JICA. Unfortunately, it is only now that money is being allocated for next year.
ඒක යවල තියෙනවා විදේශ සම්පත් දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට මුදල් සොයා ගන්න. හැබැයි ඉතින් අවාසනාවට අපිට තවම දැන් තමයි ඔන්න ජයිකා ආයතනයේ මුදල් ලබන අවුරුද්ද 2014 ලබා දෙන්න එක කියලා.
In light of recent events, News First has decided to launch a weather report on Sirius FM and Shakti FM targeted specifically at the fishing community. Now, these bulletins would be aired at times prior to fishermen launching out to sea. News First would cite the Met Department's forecast in its report with the hope of helping the fishing community to carry out their activities under safer circumstances in keeping with our credo, your life is our news. Still to come on the news tonight.
Not going healthily.
Sri Lanka battles host England to keep their Champions Trophy semi-final hopes alive. All the action coming up on Sports First.
Just the occasional aggressive shot from Ian Bell.